Some people have very vivid imaginations. Now, consider that statement. What's your response to it? I think if you say, so-and-so has a very vivid imagination, there's a subtext there, isn't there? And the subtext is, they're not quite in touch with reality. So we make that discrimination, don't we? If someone has got a very vivid imagination, we imagine that they're somehow lost in a world of their own. So we make that discrimination. And we need to get beyond that discrimination and not make that discrimination. We need to get beyond that discriminating between what is real and what is unreal, because it's all happening in consciousness. It's all happening in consciousness. And to appreciate consciousness fully, we need to get beyond that discrimination. And this is the stage at which Rama is at. Vasishta, who has this yogic imagination, certain yogis, like certain people, have tremendous imagination, because a lot of the meditation they do is about developing the imagination, in particular the faculty of visualization. They can travel in their imagination, just as some people can be lucid in their dreams or experience what is described as astral projection. They are alive to the world of the mind, of the imagination. And Vasishta, in his imagination, is travelling through the elements. He is Brahman, pure consciousness, experiencing the elements. And the thing about the elements is they have different degrees of grossness or subtlety. Just like our notions do, the elements relate to various degrees of grossness or solidity which we ascribe to our notions. So the notion of earth, that's solid, that is real. Fire is a tricky one, isn't it? What is the reality of fire? We can feel it, we can see it, but we can't really touch it, can we? We can't smell it or touch it. So fire is a far subtler thing, isn't it? If you sat staring at a flame, although it's a powerful thing, it doesn't seem to be quite in this reality, does it? If you consider this afresh. But let's continue with Vasishta's identification with this element. Vasishta continued, then I became the fire element through the contemplation of that element. This is the teja-dharana. Dharana is the concentration or contemplation on something. Fire or light is predominantly sattva, and therefore it is always luminous, and it dispels darkness even as a king makes thieves flee his presence. Fire is seen as a purifying thing, so it's relating to the element of sattva here, of purity. I realized the misery of darkness which destroys all good qualities because I became the light in which everything is seen. Light bestows form on everything, even as a father bestows form on his offspring. In the netherworld, light shines at a minimum level, and there is greater darkness. In heaven there is light alone and always. Light is the sun that makes the lotus of action blossom. So that's an interesting description of heaven and hell. You can imagine it as a light spectrum. And light, in modern parlance and understanding, is energy. E equals mc squared. C is the speed of light. Multiply that by itself and by the mass of something, and you have energy. You have the energy equivalent. I became the good colour, suvarna, in gold, etc. I became vitality and valour in men. In jewels I sparkled as their fire. In rain clouds I became the light of the lightning. In passionate women I became the twinkle in their eyes. I became the strength of the lion. That's a rather delightful phrase, isn't it? The light in the eyes of a passionate woman. That's a very special light, isn't it? I was myself the hatred of the demons and the gods, and the hatred of the gods and the demons. The word demon as it's used in the Yoga Vasishta is quite different from as it's used in the West, which is influenced by the religions of the Middle East. A better word for demon is titan. Titans are passionate, powerful beings. And the gods and the titans are constantly at war. They're fighting over the wish-fulfilling tree. I became the vital essence of all beings. I experienced being the sun, the moon, the stars, precious stones, fire, including the fire of cosmic destruction, lightning, and lamp. When I became fire, the burning cinders became my teeth, the smoke my hair, and fuel was my food. In the blacksmith's workshop, I became the fire that made the iron red hot, and when it was beaten, I flew out as sparks. Rama asked, O sage, when you had thus become the fire element, were you happy or unhappy? This might seem like a strange question of Rama's. What that last paragraph was describing was the quality of rajas, which is passion and activity. It's life. It's the sort of thing which spiritually it's a bit of a no-no and we have to move away from it. This rajas quality is identifying with the passions of life, with living, engaging wholeheartedly with all the ups and downs on the roller coaster of life. So Rama quite naturally asks if Vasishta was happy or unhappy in this aspect. Is this not something that we should shy away from? Is it not something which is conducive to suffering when you engage so completely in the passions of life? And in the next paragraph, Vasishta doesn't really answer the question. It's almost as if he ignores it because the question isn't relevant. He gives an answer which once again expresses the non-diversity of the objective world. And in such a realization, you're free from sorrow. So this is another distinction that can be let go of. Happiness or unhappiness, blissful or unblissful. So this is another discrimination that can be let go of, along with truth, falsehood, reality, imagination, being, non-being. We let go of happiness, unhappiness, or blissfulness and unblissfulness.